Summary of the poem, The Trees, by Adrienne Rich. The poet depicts the movement of trees from inside, presumably a house or a confined space, to the forest. The forest has been empty and devoid of life, where birds, insects, and sunlight were absent. The anticipation builds as the forest is expected to be full of trees by the morning. The poet uses vivid imagery to depict the efforts of the trees to free themselves. The roots are working to break free from the veranda floor, leaves are straining towards the glass, and various parts of the trees are described as if they are patients being discharged, moving with effort. The poet is indoors, seemingly detached from the external changes, occupied with writing letters, deliberately avoiding mentioning the departure of the forest. The night is described as fresh, with a shining moon, an open sky, and the lingering scent of leaves and lichen, creating a sense of calmness. The head is filled with whispers, possibly representing thoughts or voices of nature. The breaking glass symbolizes a significant change or disturbance. The trees are described as stumbling forward, and the moon is broken, its pieces flashing in the crown of the tallest oak, creating a powerful and somewhat ominous image. Questions and answers from the poem. Question 1.1. Find, in the first stanza, 3 things that cannot happen in a treeless forest. Answer. In the first stanza, 3 things that cannot happen in a treeless forest are: A. No bird could sit. B. No insect could hide. C. No sun could bury its feet in shadow. Question 1.2. What picture do these words create in your mind? Sun bury its feet in shadow? What could the poet mean by the sun's feet? Answer. The word sun bury its feet in shadow create an image of the sun setting or casting shadows in the forest. The poet metaphorically refers to the sun's feet to convey the idea of the sun descending, gradually disappearing from view as it sets. Question 2.1. Where are the trees in the poem? What do their roots, their leaves, and their twigs do? Answer. The trees in the poem are inside a house. Their roots work to disengage themselves from the cracks in the veranda floor, their leaves strain toward the glass, and their twigs are described as stiff with exertion. Question 2.2. What does the poet compare their branches to? Answer. The poet compares the branches of the trees to newly discharged patients, implying a sense of liberation or release. Question 3.1. How does the poet describe the moon, A. at the beginning of the third stanza, and B. at its end? What causes this change? Answer. A. At the beginning of the third stanza, the poet describes the moon as whole or complete. B. At the end of the third stanza, the moon is described as broken like a mirror. This change is caused by the trees stumbling forward into the night, possibly blocking the moonlight. Question 3.2. What happens to the house when the trees move out of it? Answer. When the trees move out of the house remains but is now empty of the forest. Question 3.3. Why do you think the poet does not mention the departure of the forest from the house in her letters? Could it be that we are often silent about important happenings that are so unexpected that they embarrass us? Think about this again when you answer the next set of questions. Answer. The poet does not mention the departure of the forest from the house in her letters. The reason for this omission is not explicitly stated, but it could be interpreted as a commentary on how we sometimes remain silent about unexpected and embarrassing events. Question 4.1. Now that you have read the poem in detail, we can begin to ask what the poem might mean. Here are 2 suggestions. Can you think of others? Does the poem present a conflict between man and nature? Compare it with a tiger in the zoo. Is the poet suggesting that plants and trees, used for interior decoration in cities while forests are cut down, are imprisoned, and need to break out? Answer. The poem may suggest a conflict between man and nature, highlighting the exploitation of trees for urban decoration while forests are being cut down. The trees breaking out could symbolize a desire for freedom from confinement. Question 4.2. On the other hand, Adrienne Rich has been known to use trees as a metaphor for human beings. This is a recurrent image in her poetry. What new meanings emerge from the poem if you take its trees to be symbolic of this particular meaning? Answer. The trees could be symbolic of human beings, and the poem may explore themes of liberation and the need for individuals to break free from constraints. Question 5. You may read the poem On Killing a Tree by Jeev Patel, Beehive, textbook in English for Class 9, NCERT. Compare and contrast it with the poem you have just read. Answer. Both On Killing a Tree by Jeev Patel and The Trees by Adrienne Rich examine trees and human interaction with nature. While both address resilience and consequences, On Killing a Tree is direct and somber, focusing on the destructive act, while The Trees is metaphorical, possibly symbolizing societal changes. Both highlight the connection between humans and nature. Important glossary of words from the poem. Disengage, separate. Strain, make efforts to move. Bough, branch. Shuffling, moving repeatedly from one position to another. Lichen, crusty patches or bushy growth on tree trunks/bare ground formed by association of fungus and alga. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe and explore other videos on the playlist.